welcome back. Y'all thought that first one, y'all thought that was it, right? Y'all thought like, oh, they ain't gonna come back, like they've been gone. But we're still in the same clothes as you can see. So this is part two of the welcome back with
Lisette.
and Martina. So welcome back, guys, to part two of our welcome back video. You're here with your wonderful perspective co-host. And so, yeah, we just really like, in the first part one, I guess you can watch this in any order that you like, but part one probably makes more sense to you. I mean, makes more sense because we, talk about a little bit. We give y'all a little taste of what we're going to spend some time talking about this year and you know, about our journeys, our wellness journeys, and what's happening in the world, particularly in our own country. And so you can go watch that, But we wanted to come back and do a part two to just talk a little bit of just just us being Lisette and Martina, honestly,
Yeah,
and Lisette's like, "You want to talk about it?" We're going to anyway. So we're talking
eventually.
about the state of this country and how it's gone to hell. And we're only 2 months, two and a
Yeah.
half months into everything that's been going on. And it's so sad. It's so I'm embarrassed. I mean, I've been embarrassed to be an American for quite some time. It is, this administration just is like the cherry on top, or the straw that broke the camel's back. So this is really kind of it's just real sad. So we were like, let's spend a few minutes, just talking about the state of the country. And so Lisette, where you want to start with?
You know, I was thinking about like where I would go or start from. But honestly, I think we never really kind of like even had a chance to really address no the November election, like the day
Yeah.
after.
Yeah, we haven't had a chance, right?
And it's been even after that, it's just been sort of like this like downhill, like, oh man, this is not going in any good direction, and then January 20th. Yes, January
Yes.
20th happened, and it just seemed like the chaos has just been an everyday thing. But I think back to the day after the election, and I remember I had a work event after
Mhm.
after the election, and didn't know how people were going to be responding. Like, I most of the people that I know probably vote very similar to me, or care about the issues
Right.
as well. So it was sort of this like low key, like people be like, they would just say like, oh man, didn't go the way we wanted it to, or
Yeah, I'm sure.
what's gonna happen. So it was just very like um just very softly, like just people acknowledging that it didn't go the way we wanted it to go. Like, I don't think any of us had thought that we would win, but I think we all hoped that
Right. You can
that we
always
would
hope.
that there was this like idea, like maybe there's a glimmer of hope. There's people out here who are not going to vote. And I think, Martina, you mentioned, in last week's episode, like, there's still the component of like, was this a fair election? Like,
Mhm.
what were and and I think that's something to think about or look into, and just on who is part of this administration is interesting in itself. Who is out here making
Amen, child.
decisions of like what needs to be cut and what is efficient and what isn't, and sort of like what are you doing and why you
Efficiently.
are doing it. So it's just been, I think it's just been very draining. uh
Yeah. Maybe that's why I'm so tired, more than usual.
Yeah, like it's just been very, it's an everyday thing. It's something different every time. And every time I open either like Instagram, TikTok, my email, anything, and it's like
Anything. Hmm.
breaking news, or
Yes.
this executive order has, gone through. And I'm like, what more could we handle as a country, as individuals? And how much lower can our reputation be dragged through the mud? Like it really is, and it's very draining, very frustrating to
Mhm.
see not so much the administration doing what they're doing, but to see your neighbors and people around you just completely be okay with it.
Yes, the complacency.
It's just like, well, he's, and I think it's more of the people that are like either like, well, it is what it is, and I'm like,
Mm.
it can't be, it is what it is. Like not when so much is on the line. Not when so and and or people that are like, he's just stirring the pot. He's just, creating chaos. It's MO. And I'm like, just because it's what he does doesn't mean that there's not real consequences to all of these things that um but that's me, that's
Well, obviously, there's a few things here. Just and I'm gonna say it. And people may not like what I'm about to say, but I'm gonna say it. Um, if your ass didn't vote, you were part of the problem too.
yeah.
I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear people, whatever reason you had was not reason enough. Now we all in hell. We all suffering, and it's only gonna get worse.
Hmm.
So much worse. Whatever your reason was for not voting, people who did vote and voted for that thing, they voted. That's
Oh yeah,
their right. That's what they have.
realize you're right.
Um, but they voted. And so people who didn't vote, you're just as bad as the people who voted for him. That's not, my mind's not going to change about that. So some people may not like that. They may try to come for me, but I have to say it. You're part of the problem. Um, and I think to this thing about being complacent, and I get it, people are I think I won't say if there's more of the liberal side that's more like that versus the
Mm.
conservative side. I don't know, but I know
Mhm.
there are people who are they're tired, you know. And
I
we're all tired, and we're saying we're only like 2.5 months in. We got a long way to go, and with everything that's been happening, even after the 4 years are over, and he can't come back, or anybody that believe in that sort of ideology, this is going to have an impact for probably generations to come because a lot of good work that is meant to benefit everybody in this country has been undone or is currently being undone, and things are still to come. Um, and so I think it's just, it's still so early. Um, but like you said, Lisette, every day it is something, you
yeah.
know. And I'm with, all administrations, whether it's at the federal level or state level, local level, whatever. Everybody comes in and wants their changes. Everybody's gonna like have budget cuts, or they're gonna want to add things that they care about in their administrations. That's not out the ordinary. But I think the thing here with this is that like um these things that are happening, and again, like both of us work in healthcare, so we obviously probably are feeling it um, more or understand it more of consequences than maybe some other people. And it's not to say people don't understand, but we work in an industry of healthcare, different sort of field, but we both work in healthcare. And so we see it every day and understand it. And I think it's just every time I turn around, it was literally like something bad happening. I just felt like that first week, it was like every week there was something coming down. There was multiple executive orders that were coming down. And I think obviously they're still coming down now. But I think, and I don't want to knock on wood, feel like we haven't, nothing has popped up, like that we already didn't know was happening. Like right now, we're in the middle of the Department of Education is being dismantled.
Yeah.
Um, but we knew that was coming because that's, he's been talking about it. Um, and that's horrible because of where in my organization where I work, we have people who have received complete terminations of their projects that they were doing that were around education, climate change, DEI. Those programs are gone. Like
Yeah.
not just stop work orders, but completely terminated. And these are projects that obviously benefit people. A lot of them benefit minorities, which we know minorities are under attack. Everybody, if you're not a wealthy white man, this goes for my white ladies too. you
Yeah.
are a minority. I think
Yeah.
people forget
Yeah.
who's all included in that. But white men are still the majority in this country.
Yeah.
And you can tell, honey, they are not liking that child. They are doing everything they can to make sure they force their ideas onto everybody else. Like, I just think, um, there's just so much here. That person, I call him President Elon because the
You ain't
other one's
wrong.
not really, that's not, he just done got himself in some shit that he can't get out of, and we're all being dragged
Yeah.
here with it. He
Yeah.
done made some promises to pay off this person and that person, and now it's time to deliver. These
Hmm.
people, like, we voted for you, we invested in you. Now it's time for you to show us what you're gonna do. And this is just what's happening. I mean, the first week, I think it was the first week we had the January 6th rioters were pardoned.
Yeah.
That's horrible. To me, those people are terrorists. Again, that's something that I people might not like that either, but I don't care. Those people are domestic terrorists.
Yeah.
And there was a lady, I think they called, wait, it was the lady who didn't want to be pardoned.
Yeah.
She's like an older woman,
Yeah.
and she had come to her senses. Basically said like it is sort of a, it is a cult, but she did not want to be pardoned, and I respected that. She admitted what she did was wrong.
Yeah.
And we also have to acknowledge that with people too, when people want to do better and
Yeah.
they've done bad in the past. I know there's a lot of things with that as well. But when people truly want to be better and make a change, and I haven't been following this woman's life, I don't know what she's doing now. I hope she still is sticking to this. I don't know. But we have to be open to that too if
Yeah.
we're gonna get to the other side. Um, but I think like the pardon of those people, that was, again, this is like 2 months ago, give or take. That was just, I'm like, so we are really supporting terrorists. And you can't change my mind because any other group of people, because it was primarily white men, there obviously were people of color. We had little dots that were in there too. There were women there, but the majority were white men. So I'm like, if this was people of color, we wouldn't have even gotten that far. And the fact that people lost their lives, people were injured, you saying like that's okay. That's okay. That those people who were there to protect the House of Congress, like Congress, there to protect it, that those people lives didn't mean anything. People who sacrificed themselves for that, basically saying, oh, well, we didn't care about that. We're just gonna pardon all these people.
Yeah.
That's horrible. That's like, I don't even, I mean, it just feels like we are going back. I think we've said this previously before. Again, it's like nothing new with that. But, you know, I went down south the tail end of last year with a group of friends, like the deep south, Alabama. And people know I'm from Mississippi. Um, and I went down there, and for the first time, I just felt uncomfortable. And me having been born and raised in the South, in Mississippi, okay? Because obviously having been out of the South for about 10 years now, you go back and obviously things are you see things, well, for me, you see it in a different light because you've had a chance to be around people who don't think like that, like what you grew up around, even
Right.
not necessarily family, but friends or just the culture down there. Um, and you realize how, I guess, desensitized I could have been living there.
Mhm. Yeah.
But I went back there, like I said, went to Alabama with some friends, and I was nervous. That was really the first time I had been nervous to be in the South. I felt like what's happening in the South and what has the ability to happen is like back in my daddy's time. And my daddy was born in 1950, Mississippi. Okay. So that's like how I feel. Like that's how I feel. Not necessarily saying people treated me like nobody disrespected me or anything like that. I'm gonna put that out there. Nobody was, I didn't run into any trouble. But that's how I felt. Because I felt like that's the South that they want to go back to. Because we still don't know what make America great means. What does that what does that mean? And I've talked for a while. I said I'll turn it back to
No, I think that make America great again, like to your question, like I still don't know what it means. I have an idea of what it kind of might mean to some people and
you. Yeah.
like what people interpret it. And I think that's the point, where like it could mean anything to anybody, right? Like and I think that's why it's a slogan that has like stuck. around because it's like for some people it could mean like I want it to be back like how it was, you know, you know, back in the day,
Right.
where I could, where we could just segregate everybody and like do that. And I think, I mean, and if you look at what this current administration is doing and has done, the whole DEI, uh, you know, banning of DEI and like blaming DEI for the dumbest things. Um, it's just it's sort of like, okay, like, are we really trying to like show how racist y'all are? Like, is that what you all are trying to do? Or like just make it okay? Because I mean, we've talked about this here on the
Hmm.
podcast of like, you know, the Trump administration, when it wins and when it gets validated and all of these things, like it really gives a green light to people to just be racist.
Hmm.
Like, yeah, we won. Like we wanted this. Like, and I think that is one of the another part of like just this the frustration is, you know, people that voted for this administration who are like, who first were like, oh my God, the prices for groceries and eggs
Hmm.
is just too much. Like he's gonna bring it down. And then when he finally was like, I don't think I can do that, like basically it was like, that's, I don't know how I could do that. And then people's tone started changing of like, well, we didn't vote for him for, bringing down prices of
Hmm.
groceries, or like we didn't vote for him and that like we want him to, clear out the swamp and to like make things, in our government run smoothly, like get our budgets back in order and all these things. And I'm like, you spent a whole campaign season talking about how you were just there's no jobs, there's no groceries are just too expensive, our salaries don't, like all these things, and all of a sudden it doesn't matter. But I was like, but I honestly believe it's because people's hatred
Hmm.
of others just trumps everything that this administration is doing. Those people as long as the people that they hate, which is a lot of the times people of color, as long
Hmm.
as we're suffering, they don't care. They will
Mm-mm.
suffer right alongside, as long as we're the targets of that. And I'm like, and that's just my little opinion here, because I'm like, I can't think of anything else, because I'm like, he is not delivering on anything that he promised on the campaign trail. Like nothing.
Mm-mm.
Yet people that
Except
vote,
January 6th. He pardoned them, said he
that's
would.
one thing. All right. One thing he did. Uh,
Mm.
but like, and yet the people that voted for him and continue to support him are like 100% behind him. Like they're like, no, that's who we want. And I'm like, the only thing that comes to mind is that because the people that you hate, people of color, are the ones that are mostly impacted right now, you're okay with suffering alongside us. Because at the end of the day, like, yeah, they'll suffer, but we're the ones that are gonna have the
Hmm.
brunt of any sort of consequences to things that are happening. Like it will always be people of color who, take up the most burden and get hit the worst and all these things. Um, but no, like I think it's just it's part of the reason why I think having more conversations, having more action in understanding others and really sort of like, hey, we need to talk about this, because
Hmm.
you all are also suffering, and the same way that we'll suffer and get our rights and our, privileges and all these things taken away, like you will too. Like eventually it's gonna come down to you, because to what you said earlier, like unless you are a wealthy white American, not even American at this point, and we look at things,
Girl.
as long as you're a wealthy white individual,
Hmm.
like that to me is who this administration is trying to like please. Like it is the wealthy individuals that are primarily white passing, whatever you want, like as long as you look a certain way, I think that is who, and it's the reality. I think, we
Yep.
see suffering, we see who's being impacted by all these executive orders coming through, like, you know today. which is we're recording on March 20th. So we'll put it out there, but it's like it was just announced that um Mr. Orange Man over there
Mm-hmm.
just signed an executive order to dismantle the Department of Education. Who is that going to impact the most? If it for whatever reason holds up and all these things, like our poor communities, poor black and brown communities, our white poor like
Poor whites.
poor
Yep.
white, like this is like we're all getting impacted. Like it's not just, oh no, it's just the blacks and the
Mm-hmm.
browns out there that are gonna get a hit by this. Like, no, like why are we thinking that? It's not just illegals out here that are I'm like, so it's just very frustrating from that point of view because you're like, man, like how far are you gonna let him just really drag our country and our government? Like, how far are you gonna let him really test our constitution? Like, our constitution is being tested on the daily,
Mm-hmm.
and sort of doing that. But that's my thoughts. I got so many things now.
Well, I have so many because I was trying to say, what can I pick up on? God, there's so much. But I think I started off this video saying I'm embarrassed. I'm so embarrassed, you
Mm-hmm.
know, and I don't understand why people, and again, like we said, I don't think necessarily some people don't understand. I think some people don't, they choose not to understand
Yeah.
or they pretend like they don't understand. But I don't get it. Why don't folks see what's happened in other countries? Like,
Mm.
I don't know. Why don't they think that's not happening here? I don't understand. Like, what is it? And saying stupid stuff like, oh, we're gonna make Canada the 51st state. They're their own fucking sovereign. Okay? You can't just make them a state. What, are you gonna go to war and just force Canada? At this point, I'm like, Canada, please come over here. Save us. Please. Please. I'll be a Canadian citizen. Please
Yeah.
take me. Because I think that's where we're going to get to. And I just think like this administration. I just feel like the person who's there, not President Elon. I'll get to President Elon in a minute. But the other person who's supposed to be the leader of the country, okay, we're making all these cuts, as we saying, this efficiency. But where is this money going? Do we know where the money's going? I don't know. And so obviously, as I might have alluded to this when we opened, so he's made all these promises to all these wealthy people out here. All these wealthy people are going to get tax cut. We don't have money to pay for that. Where's that money coming from? So all these cuts that are being made are going to all those people who he told he was going to give them a cut, that 4%, because we don't have the money. The money got to come from somewhere. He ain't got it. So all these cuts talking about we cutting this and making things more efficient for whom? Who is this money? Who is getting this money? What is this money going to do to benefit this country? We still don't know. Okay, you want to dismantle this, you want to take people jobs away and do all of that. But what are you do like how is this in the end going to benefit this country? You're supposed to be saying you're making all these cuts and things, making things more efficient. Where? Even if you don't like, oh, even if it's not happening now, what's the plan? What's the
Yeah.
plan to make it more so? That's what pissed me off when people's like, oh, why are you upset that they're coming in and like, trying to get rid of corruption and fraud? Those are the primary motherfuckers who are committing it. And it's politics. Politics is always going to be corrupt.
Yeah.
Okay? Because much as some of these things are human fucking nature. It's sad, the human fucking nature. Um, but there's always going to be corruption in politics. It's politics, That's just what it is. And so for people using that as an excuse, they're like, oh, they're coming in and getting rid of corruption. But where's that money going? Where's it going?
Yeah.
We don't know where it's going. Or at least I don't. I mean, if somebody on here, please let me know. If I'm wrong, I would love to be wrong. I would love to think this is going to the country, to people who need it, not to line the pockets of these fucking billionaires, wealthy people. Fuck that. Okay. And for them, this is not even about, well, for President Elon, I don't think this is even about money anymore. He has
Yeah.
that. He has enough money to end world hunger. Okay, but won't do it. So he's not worried about money. This is power in his
Power.
control. And he got the mother two other funny looking motherfuckers up there with him, the second and third richest people in the world. We'll leave it at that. They also ain't worried about money. It's about power and control. And I always pray that if I come into that much money, that my heart is not like that.
Yeah.
That's really sad to me because it's like
Yeah.
you're building this treasure on earth. You can't, when you die, you
It's
come into
gone.
this world and you leave this world alone
Yeah.
with nothing. You come in with nothing, you leave with nothing. So I don't quite understand this whole thing of wanting to build all this money. And who are you helping? And again, I could be wrong. Uh, President Elon and the Zuckerberg little asshole and that other one over there too. Forgive me, if they are making donations to charity, like them specifically, I'm not talking about, oh, Amazon donated this, that.
Yeah.
What are they doing?
In their pocket.
Their pocket. And excuse me, if they are doing great things with that to help people, please let me. I would love to know. I would love to be wrong about it. It'd be great. Be great if they're doing. But we don't hear about that. Doesn't mean that it's not happening, but
Mhm.
that's not what we're hearing. So what are they doing to make the world better? Because they're not going to go down in history the way they think they are. They're going to go down in history as somebody who is almost 100 years. It's been almost 100 years. We're getting close to when it happened in another country, and we see how he went down. Mhm. So you're not going to go down the way you think you are. Mhm. So it's just, it's just sad. This is really sad. You have all this exposure. You've been very fortunate in life, and this is how you behave. It's just sad. It's really sad. And that's just, yeah, I don't know. I think we need to go to space and stay there.
Just take a little trip out there.
Take a trip, stay there. You like it so much,
Enjoy it. You want to explore it? Go
go
explore it.
explore it.
You said so many good things though. Like you made so many good points. And I think the one that I sort of just keep going back to is like who is benefiting from these cuts? Like where is this money going to? And I think that is one of the things that people need to question more
Mm-hmm.
and sort of impress. And I know like this administration is good about just gaslighting you and
Mm-hmm.
but I'm like, but you just have to keep that. I was like, okay, you're making our government more efficient. Like, what does it mean to be an efficient government? Like, why would dismantling the Department of Education do that? Why, doing, not providing aid to these other countries? Like, why? How is that being more efficient? How is that
Mm-hmm.
sort of helping the overall, bottom line or our dollars or whatever? And to your point, like, I mean, they were early on, there was like these talks of like, hey, with all this money that's being saved, we can give every citizen $5,000. And I'm like, no, you can't. I was like, who is believing that your government can give you $5,000? Like this again is just another
Especially this administration. They ain't giving anybody a damn thing.
years of like just to kind of keep the voter base like enticed and say like yeah we're gonna get you. It's like y'all are crazy if you think that a Republican majority Congress is out here gonna approve $5,000 for every US citizen. They didn't want to do stimulus checks. That was the Democrats.
That was Democrats then. We are all red now. Fuck that
That
shit.
like so like it's not gonna happen. Like the fact that you all can't even like see that and like understand that and you allowing this government to like hoodwink you into believing that
Mm-hmm.
this doge out here is making our government more efficient for you. No, it's making it more efficient for the wealthy
Mm-hmm.
because at this point in time it's the wealthy that are going to get much wealthier. um and that wealth gap is just it's gonna just skyrocket to be more.
Yep.
And that's just the reality. Like, and that's the thing. Like they want to keep the poors and they want to keep the wealthy, make them wealthier. They don't even want to keep them wealthy. Like they could literally just be fine.
They're
Like
fine.
you don't even have to do any more tax because you don't do nothing. Like they're fine.
If
But the
if
fact
if they never make money again, they're
and
fine.
the point that you brought, like Martina, very like the point of like we've talked about like, if we ever come into that sort of like wealth, the fact that, you don't want to lose your soul to it. Because that's what
Hmm.
I say. Trump has sold his
Absolutely. Absolutely.
we like there's no way you can convince me otherwise that he has not just sold his
Absolutely.
soul, and this is why everything is happening. Because other people are just have a tight grip around whatever he promised or said he would do, or all these like whatever he sold, whatever. I hope it's worth it. Like I hope,
I hope so.
when he's on his last breath, on his, I was like, I hope it was all worth it. Um, but like I don't want to reach those pearly white gates and be
Hmm.
like, and my soul be broken because I decided to not help a fellow man. Like that to me is like the worst thing. And that I'm with you on that. Like if I ever come into that sort of wealth, or I know wealth, like whether it's a
Yeah,
millionaire or a multimillionaire or a billionaire status,
whatever.
I
Yeah.
hope I always give back, and I always sort of like remember and be humble about it. Like I be one of like you. I hope to be one of those people that you don't even know that I'm rich. You don't even know.
Exactly. Oh, yes. Exactly.
You don't even know. I just walking down the street, okay,
Normal person.
getting on my bus, getting my Uber,
Hmm.
like, like that's, and I think that's the thing. Like, and I mean, I do say as a society, and I think just in general, like, um, people who are wealthy and perceive, and the pursuit of wealth is sort of encouraged, and I think that's what we're seeing. Like these are the consequences of a country that's based on capitalistic ideals. Like
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
think we're gonna get back to some of the things we've talked in the past. Like this is a consequence of it. Like when we live in a very capitalistic society, we believe in those ideals. That's really what um we're really kind of seeing now, and it's frustrating, but we don't. I think we're coming up
Hmm.
on time
Yeah, we can't
to really
continue. Well, we
close
will
this out.
continue, just not here. Not right
Yeah,
now.
we'll definitely be, because y'all know us. We can keep
Hmm.
talking. We can go for hours and hours on this.
Yes.
But this is just a preview. I think Martina and I we hadn't talked about this on a public forum in a very long time, and we just needed to.
I think people need to realize, like, although we live in the same city, we haven't had a chance to talk either because we've
Oh,
been so busy. We've been so busy.
so this is our
Yeah.
catch-up time too. So
It's
we
catch up
need
time.
we
Yeah.
need to like clock ourselves too of like, hey, we need to
Hmm.
be mindful of what other people are listening to, doing that. But again, like we will always kind of give our opinions, and these are our opinions and our thoughts
Hmm. Hmm.
bring, and some of y'all share them. If you don't share them, we're open to healthy discussion, dialogue. We know that not everyone agrees with everything we
Hmm.
say.
Absolutely not. Yeah,
So
true.
feel free to comment, and share your thoughts and your opinion. We always ask to just be kind, in the comment section. If you're mean, I mean, that's on you. Well,
That's on you. I'm not gonna cuss you out. I
we,
promise.
we 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 really don't. We may have a response video and
Yes. We have a response video.
and
Yes.
talk about it. But honestly, for those that have stuck around with us, know that we are open to other opinions, other perspectives. That's why we call this
Absolutely.
a channel perspectives, because we know we all don't have the same lived experiences and things like that. But we hope to just continue bringing the dialogue or to you all, sharing what's happening. Um, like I mentioned at the last episode, there's going to be things that are evergreen and just sort of like things
Hmm.
that can be talked about. And we definitely will be coming back and talking a lot more about what's happening, how we're dealing with some of it. I mean, I know sometimes we feel like burned out by everything and just want to hide and, dig into the sand and just be like nothing
I
exists
know.
anymore.
Yeah. Some
But
days are like that, but yeah.
sometimes I'm just like under the cover and be like,
Hmm.
I don't care
Hmm.
about I don't care. I don't care. Let it all burn down.
Burn down.
And then I'm like, oh no, because then I burn down with it. I don't want to burn.
I know.
So, definitely more to come. Thank you for joining us today and listening. or watching us, depending on what platform you're using. But again, we will be back. We'll have more topics. We'll have more conversations. We definitely will not be all the time heavy doom and gloom. We definitely have some fun topics coming up, so keep an eye out for that. And keep an eye out for our live. I'm sure
Yes.
we'll come on live. And we'll definitely make sure you're following us on Instagram. That's probably where we post the most. We do have a Facebook page too, but I'll be honest, sometimes I it's one or the other.
Instagram wins out.
And Instagram tends to win out. That's probably the one I'm checking the most around it. So make sure you're following us,
Yes.
that you're subscribed on
Tell
YouTube.
people. Tell people. Tell people
Um,
about us.
yes. And again, thank you. Martiana, we got anything to say?
I think that's great. If I say any more, we'll be here another 30 minutes. So
Alrighty.
we'll see
Alrighty.
y'all soon.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.